Atlético de Madrid, Atleti, Atleti, Atlético de Madrid.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Partido Podcast, the English-speaking pod about all things Atleti. Today I'm as usual with Emmanuel, but we have a special guest. Please welcome Gav.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. Thanks for coming today. How are you doing?
I'm doing grand. Looking forward to the match of the weekend. Looking forward to two matches this weekend.
So are we. How are you doing, Emmanuel?
I'm doing great. And you, Taha?
Very good, thank you. So let's crack in, shall we? We're starting with Atletico's nerve-wracking win against Elche. Atletico managed to get the 1-0 win away from home, thanks to Llorente's goal in the first half. Emmanuel, can you please give us your thought again?
Well, it was a game of two halves, given the fact that Atleti had a very good first half and were completely dominant in the second half. As for the first half, I think we have seen this season Atleti being good in the first half and also going to sleep in the last 30 minutes of the game. That's they look for the first goal, and I think it's a Cholo mindset. That is something that has been in the team for a long time. That you score the first goal, have the first goal, and the opponent is under pressure to equalize, and what happens is that there will be spaces to exploit and you hit them on the counter. That has been the case this season, or at times they look for two goals, but it wasn't to be because in the first half there were so many good opportunities. Atleti, scored a goal, but sadly Suarez was offside, and there was also a penalty shout which wasn't given. And like we all have known this season, it's difficult to know what is a penalty and what is not a penalty. But I think I will focus on the positive rather than the negatives, given, you had players who really had a monstrous performance, and then you have the ball playing ability of Savic, which has been just great this season despite it going under the radar. But in those last 30 minutes were really nerve-wracking. And lucky for us, Fidel hit the post and we walk away with 3 points and stay top of the league.
You say the second half regression was because of Atleti setting back and inviting the pressure. I think there's more to just that, because even when playing on the counter, Atletico were very sloppy, and at times it felt like Carrasco and Kondogbia were the only players that remember how to play properly.
Well, I will agree on that, as it seems so many players were having an off day, which I would say maybe a good thing in the fact that it is maybe a wake-up call to most of them. But as I said, lucky we walk away with 3 points, and looking at the positive, I don't want to go too much into the negative because there were so many negative, like for example, Correa really having a bad game after having a series of very good games, and so many players, for example, joao Felix, I know he's coming back from injury and I don't want to put so much pressure on him. He has been fantastic in the first half of the season, and since recovering from COVID, he has not been himself. So there are negatives in the game, but I don't really want to focus on that, given that we have 4 finals left to play and clinging on to the positive, having that positive mentality. Like Cholo said in his press conference, I am a positive man. So we think positively, but not ignoring the negative aspects of the team.
Gav, Elche were very good in the second half, really. They dealt with the pressure well, and they're really close to equalizing. What was your thought about them in the second half?
Well, Elche are fighting for their lives. And when you look at the results, 1-0 to Atleti, it was harsh on Elche. Even taking the penalty into consideration, that's a good result for Atleti too. You're away from home, relegation battle team. But I think Fidel should have scored. That would have been just for the match. I thought in the first half, you were the better side. In the second half, you just completely disappeared. I think, unfortunately, for Elche this season, they'd no real business coming up from the Segunda last season. Their squad is very, very thin, and they changed managers, rightly so. But I just think it may be a bit too late for them to be putting any comeback together. And missing that penalty on the weekend, you can't be missing them. So in one instance, Atleti were very lucky, and at the same time, it was a good performance from Atleti to take 3 points.
I mean, we're gonna keep talking a lot about the title race, but how do you think that result and the rest of the results on the weekend affected the title race?
Well, Barcelona messed up obviously last Thursday against Granada, but again, you're into the final stretch of the season. When you look at Barcelona's games before the Granada game, you see in Granada we then have Atleti. I can't even remember the last couple of games we have to play. But Granada should have been 3 points. That should have been us up in the top spot. But we lost, and we deserved to lose. The performance against Valencia on the weekend was brilliant, especially in the second half. I thought it came out. I thought they were excellent. I would have loved Sevilla to have beaten Athletic on Monday, because this would have been a brilliant, true four-horse race.
I mean, with Sevilla, I really hope that loss didn't affect them too much mentally, that they give up the game against Real Madrid.
No, you'd hope it wouldn't, but Sevilla aren't totally out of it. I mean, Sevilla get a result against Real Madrid at the weekend. That brings them up to 73 points. If Barca and Atleti is a draw, I mean, they're slapped back in it. So, two massive games on the weekend. Now, lads, I know, to be honest, I hope we can slaughter us, but, to be to be fair about it, I think whatever happens on Saturday between the two of us, I think it doesn't necessarily turn into a two-horse race, but I think the winners of the league are between the two of us. Depending if there's a victor, if there's a draw, be interesting to see what happens in the other game.
Going back to the Elche game, of course, Carrasco continues his amazing form, as he's contributed in 7 goals in the last 3 or 4 games now. And we know he's caused Barcelona a lot of troubles recently. Do you see that continuing at the weekend, Emmanuel?
I think Carrasco has been one of Atleti's most consistent players this season. So him causing a lot of trouble for Barcelona would not surprise me, and I see that to continue. I say so given the fact that him playing as the left wing back will obviously have an impact on how the Barca's right back or right wing back, it depends on what Koeman goes with. I think we saw against Valladolid and maybe against Valencia how they were able to maybe reduce the influence of the fullbacks attacking wise, and also given that Carrasco's threat maybe on the counter, his pace, his tricky being tricky, quick feet and the rest. I think the fullback, be it Roberto or maybe Des, because rumors are saying Roberto may be the one playing. So whoever plays there will be aware and they'll be wary of that, which means that it may limit the way in which the right wing back or maybe a right back, like I said, depending on what Koeman goes with, attacks Atleti.
Okay, so the lineup Simeone went with to the training was 3-2, Savic, Hermoso, Jimenez, and then in of the pitch he had Kondogbia, Lemar, and Koke, and he had Llorente and Suarez up front. I think he'll go with this same lineup against Barcelona.
Well, with Cholo, you hardly know what he does, but I will hope that he goes, I will say, with the lineup he used against Barcelona at the Wanda. Maybe with the exception being maybe Correa for Felix. I think 3 at the back I'm saying so because against Barcelona, you don't have so much time on the ball. You rely on the counter. That means we are going to need the best ball playing players we have so that we make the most of the amount of possession we are going to have. So, like I said before about Savage ball playing ability and the Jimenez and Hermoso. So having our ball base is going to be good. But I think there are players like Koke in which if he's up for it because he has been really not having a good game in the good games recently. So hopefully they'll be at their best because that game is crucial and hopefully we win it. And the lineup, it all depends on Cholo. But I pray he goes for our best players on the ball and players who are able to affect the opponent on the counter.
Okay, so while he was amazing against Elche, he did play some risky passes, and you think against a side that presses like Barcelona, those might be punished. So I think I was planning to have a debate whether we're going to go with Lamar or Kondogbia, but it looks like both of them are going to start instead of Felix or Correa. I don't know if he's going to go with that same lineup at the weekend. It'd be interesting to see what he has in mind for that game.
I agree. Well, it's all up to Cholo. He knows more than I do tactically wise, and I'm not expert, but I'm just giving my opinion. But going with Kondogbia means that you have to play maybe safer passes and maybe don't take a lot of risks, because I think one of the things of Barcelona that has gone under the radar this season is that they are one of the best teams on the transition. That means when they quickly win the ball, they are able to punish you. But when I mean able to punish, they're able to create so many chances, but not really punish because they have been wasteful in front of goal a lot this season, which isn't really a surprise. Given in previous season they have also been wasting in front of goal. Just that this season it has been on a. Many people have recognized that, given that they have been really struggling this season. But going for Kondogbia, in my opinion, will mean he takes the ball and maybe gives to more progressive players. I say so because Kondogbia is a player who is maybe slow in releasing the ball, and also he takes time to do things, and if he's dispossessed or maybe gives a wrong pass, well, Barcelona and they are superhuman, well, you know what will happen.
Okay, so Gav, Barcelona didn't have a great start for the season, but they've improved a lot as the season progressed. Can you give us a quick analysis of how they've been recently? What's their form like coming into the game? What are their weaknesses and strengths?
Okay, well, let's start with strengths. Messi. And I'm going to be equally quick in response and give you a very big weakness, Dembele. Now, when you look back at the start of the season with Barcelona, we had a very messed up Messi going through a lot off the pitch. We had a new manager who brought in a lot of youngsters. And throughout the first half of the season, I think we've seen a team in true transition. There was good performances, there was poor performances. But I think since Christmas time, Koeman has Barcelona playing pretty well. I don't think he's entirely happy with the players he has. I think he'd like to bring one or two more in, tell one or two to leave. But overall, I think Barcelona have been playing really well. Obviously, we've seen them come up against PSG in the first leg. You can see there is I don't want to say gulf in class, but there's a clear difference there between the two teams. I think Barcelona have to take a step back from their usual standards. But, with the young players we're after bringing through, I think you'd agree, Ansu Fati is incredible. Pedri is just amazing. And, I think overall, I'm actually really happy with how the rest of the season is panning out. We won the Copa del Rey. It was brilliant. But there's definitely room for improvement under Koeman, and I hope he's given the time. He won't be there on Saturday to watch us beat us, but he'll be there in the stands.
And what's the lineup that's he's gonna go with at the weekend?
Well, I'm very frustrated with Dembele. I'd like him to start. I'd like him to run his ragged, but I don't want him to just run. I want him to score, and he's dreadful. Let's be fair. He's dreadful. We can look at the price we paid for him and all that. That's not his fault, but overall, he's been a flop for us. So I'm hoping he doesn't start. Greasy's been on fire today. Another player that's taken a while for me to warm to, but in fairness, the last couple of months he stepped up to the plate. He scored some wonderful goals. Obviously Messi. I'd like to see Pedri start. I think he's a gifted individual. I think we're looking at a true footballer in the making here. Yeah, the rest can just pick themselves. I don't think, obviously De Jong and all that, but I don't think the rest will have much of an impact on how Barcelona are going to play. I don't think any of the other players have actually had that much of a standout season. So whatever Koeman wants to pick, as long as Greasy's up front, Messi and Pedri, I don't really care who he picks.
Okay, so back to the midfield battle. There's Frankie de Jong, who has been doing great this season after having a poor first season at Barcelona. We have Busquets and Pedri. That against Atletico's midfield, who do you think will come out on top?
From what I've seen, De Jong has been playing brilliantly. Again, since Christmas, I think he's really after coming into his own. He's a lovely footballer. Koeman loves him, and he's been given a bit more freedom on the pitch. But for me, I mean, this is probably Pedri's biggest game in a Barcelona shirt. And if he has a good game, he will make a difference. Not just in the midfield, but I think with the scoreline too.
Emmanuel, can you answer the same question?
Well, I think I think whosoever wins the midfield battle wins this. Given, in my opinion, Barcelona will have more of the ball. That means it depends on if Atleti allows Frankie de Jong to make his runs from midfield into the right half space, or they allow Busquets to play passes between the lines to pick out Messi, or they allow Pedri to do his thing, or it all depends on that. And I think we all know Barcelona is going to have more of the ball, and Atleti are going to sit in the compact block and waiting to hit on the counter. So if Atleti's midfield will be able to be compact, that means control the areas in which Barcelona have the ball, maybe do what Valencia did against Barca in the first half. I think that will be great. So it all depends how each midfield executes their game plan. So it is really difficult to call which will succeed, but it all depends on the execution of how each team midfield executes their plan. So if Atleti are able to control the spaces in which the Barcelona midfielders will have the ball or are able to pass the ball, then they win the midfield battle. The Barcelona midfielders are able to play their passes. Frankie de Jong able to make his runs into the box. Pedri and able to link up well. So that will be. It all depends. I'm sitting on the fence.
Emmanuel.
Yes, Gav.
Here, I have a question for you.
Okay.
We have the biggest game of both club season coming up on Saturday. I think it's fair to say I've seen a couple of comments made about we haven't really beaten a top side this season, bar Juventus back in September or October. Now, regardless whether we've been beaten or not, we've always gone out and tried to play our own style, which is attacking football. Your biggest game of the season so far was against Chelsea, and you played, in my opinion, ultra negative. Now, I understood Simeone's approach. He wanted to keep at 0-0, bring it back to Stamford Bridge and come out of their shell a bit and score. Hopefully score. But do you reckon he's going to do that on Saturday? I mean, think about it. This is our biggest test. A point suits you more than it suits us. Can you see Simeone saying, right, lads, let's stifle them And can you stifle us for 90 minutes?
Well, against Barcelona, it's always going to be very difficult, and it's at the Camp Nou. I think it all goes down. It all depends on Simeone mentality. And my opinion, the first 20 to 25 minutes of that game will be key for Atleti. I say so because Simeone always wants his teams to start on the front foot. And if Atleti are able to get a goal within that minute, I don't think, let's say for example, Atleti scores in the first 10 minutes, I don't think Atleti will sit down immediately. No. They will do as they did against Elche, that is, look for the second. I think Simeone's aim will be to score first and look for the second as quick as possible and put Barcelona under the pressure. And then maybe he then sits back. So, but if that doesn't work, I don't see Simeone going toe-to-toe with Barcelona. But I think Atleti will have moments in the game in which they will look to maybe control the game and maybe have more of the ball and the rest. But I think Simeone's game plan will be to score first and look for a second goal as quick as possible. That's if you can have 2 goals in quick succession and you are 2-0 up at the Camp Nou, I think that is what he's going to go for. I don't see him maybe changing so much from the back six we have seen him use against Sevilla, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and even Chelsea. I think that's the same thing he's going to do. But the thing will be all about the execution. I know Atleti's performances in some games this season has been frustrating, even for me, an Atleti fan, in his approach to the game. But I don't see him opening up or maybe playing like how La Real or even Villarreal will play against Barcelona. I think he's going to be compact and hit on the counter. And hopefully, as speaking from an Atleti fan of view, maybe Koeman panics and like he has done, like you talk about Barcelona not being good in big games, he panics, maybe overthink things and he gets things wrong. But if he doesn't overthink things and he gets things right, it is going to be very difficult for Atleti. I think both teams will be playing for the win, but I don't think Simeone will open up. I just don't see that. But I will not be surprised if maybe say Atleti has something of maybe 45 and maybe above possession, given that Simeone will want to win the game and he will not be over consecutive like in Chelsea's case. And there will be more. I think Atleti will attack more, but I don't see him opening things up like how, like I said, Villarreal or Real Sociedad will do.
Okay, so there's another talking point. Atletico, even in games where they were controlling the game towards the end, in 5 minutes, been conceding a lot, and they were so lucky against Elche that Fidel hit the post. I mean, what do you think is the reason behind that? Is it like just losing concentration late on, or is there something deeper than just that?
In my opinion, giving the opponent the ball more also gives them a chance to score. And 7 of the 22 goals, league goals Atleti has considered this has come in the final 15 minutes of the game. That says how Atleti approaches the games. That means it's like they look to kill the game early on, and in the final stages of the game, they just look to see the game off. So I don't know if it's down to tiredness, but like I said in the Elche game, I think it's a mentality from the coach down to the team that if you're up in the game in the final minutes, you maybe take your foot off the gas, you try to slow down the tempo, maybe you allow the opposition to have the ball but not in dangerous areas and the rest. I think that has been the reason. But the difference with this season and previous season is the fact that Atleti are not as good as they were in previous seasons in defending the box. That's the difference. You have seen moments of lapse in concentration like Hermoso against Athletic Club, Felipe against Celta Vigo. So many of those things. Those are the difference. And obviously, down to personnel, well, Felipe is not good in and the rest. So I think it's down to Atleti not being able to defend the box that good as they were in previous seasons. And one of the things that really annoys me is the fact that they keep retreating so deep. I think this was something happened in the Madrid derby, and Oblak had to say, why do we come in so deep? Why are we defending so deep? I think you can put maybe not even a high block, a mid block, because when you defend so deep and you are not good in defending the box, what happens? You allow chances and they lead to many goals like against Celta Vigo and almost against Elche and the rest. So That is the issue. Why not sit in a mid compact block and you are able to control, because when you retreat too deep, you cannot go more deep. You are already at your penalty box, and even if the opponent can keep on putting crosses into the box, and given that there have been so many individual mistakes that have resulted in Atleti conceding goals, they can get lucky and have a goal from a mistake or maybe a lapse in concentration. I think that's been the issue. The team being retreating so deep. Why not put a mid block? Well, it all depends on Cholo and how maybe he wants the team to go. Because I think, in my opinion, he should have realized that we are not as good as defending the box as previous season. So a change in approach is needed. I'm not saying we should play like Man City. No. A mid block, like, being compact enough, not coming too deep to your box, in which you give the opponent so many chances to. For example, you do that against Barcelona, as we saw against Valencia in the opening minutes. You have link up like 1-4 passes and they have already open you up. And given that we are not as good as previous season, a chance will be occur, and maybe they take it.
So, what do you expect the flow of the game to be like? I mean, I know it's hard to make expectations for such a crucial game, but just an idea what's going to be like.
Oh, we're going out to win, lads. Your lot's going to be doing the defending. That's exactly what's going to happen. It'll be relentless in Barcelona. I believe that. I'd actually be really cocky in saying that, because, like, we don't know what's going to happen in the summer. Is this Messi's last swan song? Who knows? Nobody has any answers. But the man has been on fire. He's the greatest footballer of all time. I think most people would agree in it. But we have to remember, he's potentially coming to the end of his peak prime, whatever you want to call it. If this is his last season at Barcelona, I can promise you, this could be the last time they're playing Atleti. And Messi's always up for a clash with Atleti. It's always been some great battles. I think, honest to God, lads, 3-0, I think he's going to suffer. I hope you suffer, because I've had to suffer for months. You've had no business being that far ahead. I mean, at winter time, winter champions, he's for breaking records. He's had nosebleeds being that far up ahead. Now it's different. I'm sorry, I know I'm taking the tone of the pod down, but lads, we have to talk about this. He's going down on Saturday. Down 3-0, Barca. And dembele to come on and prove me wrong and score the third.
So a very prediction there from Gal. Emmanuel, give us your prediction.
I'm very bad predicting, so I will just sit on the fence. I think Gav is not only confident. Well, I'm very bad. I think Gav is not only confident, but he's right. Because if Atleti's game plans go wrong and Barcelona score the first goal, I think Gav's position is a very possibility. That means the floodgates will be open, and as we saw against Sevilla, Atleti's panicking and they just keep bypassing the midfield and the rest. Well, but if I'm to go, I will say a 2-1 win for Atleti.
So, I mean, I hate giving a scoreline prediction, but just saying what I think each team is gonna rely on the most, and I'm certain Atletico will try and score on the counter, relying on Llorente and Carrasco's speed. And of course, there's Suarez, who really, when he wants to prove a point, he is a different beast. So we can be fairly reliant on finishing, being on point at the weekend. And that's some Suarez is that at the weekend against Elche, he looked really rusty coming back from injury. So we'll see, what Suarez turns up, and I think that's gonna make a massive difference. I mean, we know Messi is gonna turn up, so it's up to Atleti to see how they're gonna deal with that.
Well, I can tell you what Suarez is going to turn up. The Barca legend is going to turn up. He's going to fold. He's not going to fold. He's going to see what's around him and go, do you know what? I'm not performing today. I can't.
So it was all a master plan to send him in a very tight race.
Wait and see when Messi scores. The first person to run up and hug him will be Suarez. Tell you.
We're gonna see pictures to the one Azar who's Chelsea celebrating after.
No, but in all fairness, so I'd say it's vital Suarez does go there with a chip on his shoulder, because if Suarez goes there believing, as you said, he's a point of proof. He's lethal. The man is still lethal. Like, remember, look who we gave you for 6 million quid. Was it even 6 million we gave him to as well? Madness. Who does that?
Only Barcelona does that.
This is it. Like, people around Europe and the world laugh at their fan base and all that. And you know what? They've a right to do it. Absolutely. But to say people want to check out what our management does be doing, fucking head cases. Who keeps away Suarez to Atleti? That is the most insane transfer in a long time. I'll tell you what that's on par with. Do you remember we got rid of that other lad that used to play with us? He was half decent as well. Yeah, David Villa. Yeah, let's give him to Atleti. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, right. He's past it. So yeah, I would fear Suarez on Saturday, and I tell you, I'd also fear for Greasy. See, we don't know what's going to happen here. Is Greasy going to now, do his, I'm Uruguayan Atleti till I die job? I don't, it'd be interesting.
It's a game for so many things to happen, so many things to prove. Griezmann to prove, maybe silence of Atleti fans, Suarez, the owners of Barcelona, so many things is going to happen. Well, I think so many things are on the line, not just the 3 point, not just the title, some individual battles. Well, it's going to be a very tense game. Like I said, it all depends on how things go. Well, tactically, I think the team with the best tactics and clinical finish chance will win this game. Like we have seen this season, Atleti has been clinical, Barca hasn't really been. So, well, we don't know what to expect. And, well, there's Messi and also there's Busquets. So, another weakness of Barcelona, which we didn't talk about earlier, has been Ter Stegen. Well, I'm not saying he's bad, but he has some weaknesses, let's say for maybe set pieces and maybe decision making at times. He's a very good shot stopper, so if Atleti can capitalize on his decision making, maybe we get a repeat of what happened at the Wanda, and well, Gaff, we go on to take all 3 points.
I tell you, hilarious, man. I tell you who we have to watch. I tell you the one player we have to absolutely stifle and make sure doesn't get a look in is Llorente. I think Llorente has been absolutely phenomenal for us this season. And you know what? I think he's brilliant. I love actually watching Llorente. I think he adds a dynamic to Atleti that's been missing for quite a while. I think with Llorente on the pitch, he makes Joao Felix look better, which is going to do Joao Felix confidence the world of good, because he's had a poor season.
Okay, so the thing with Felix is that he had an amazing start of the season, but then after that he picked up some injuries and his form just has been really poor for the few months. So we'll see what Felix turns up as well, and probably not.
Do you know what he's done with Felix? He's bought a racehorse and he's asking them to act like a donkey. That man,
it is a fair comparison, yeah.
He does not suit that team, unfortunately. And it's not to say that he's better than Atleti. He's not better than Atleti. Yous need, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if Yous had a Falcao, a Lewandowski, which he's always had as strikers, He's now relying on this branch. He's just a kid. And he does not, in my opinion, lads, I don't think he suits that Atleti squad. And I think he's harming us and you are harming him at the same time, because you could sell him on, he'd flourish elsewhere, you could get somebody else in and you could be laughing. But I think he's done very well this season, even having him, relying on him. I think that's one of the beauties of Atleti that a lot of people don't realise, is that he's a game winners from every corner. And he's had that little Correa fella. He's been class as well. You see everybody's talking about the Correa move now. It's now a thing.
Correa turn.
I mean, where did that come from? Correa with a turn. The only other man with a turn was Cruyff. And now here's Correa. It's brilliant.
It is brilliant. Okay, so another thing, Gav. Barcelona's most of the they've conceded recently were from individual mistakes. What's the deal with the Barca defenders? And another thing is, what's the mentality of the team like? Like there were quite a few big games that they couldn't win, but also against Granada, where win and they'd go top, and they failed to get the 3 points. What's the deal with the Barca players at the moment?
What's the easiest way of comparing this? We always have to revert back to, we say, the Pep years and the Pep players. Yeah, they had a cohesiveness about each other. They knew what the other person was thinking, and they played the most incredible football of all time. Now, what's happened is Barcelona have always had a particular style of play, which has been attack, pass and attack. It's always been there. Doesn't matter who it's been under, it's always been there. It's just been perfected tweaks under different managers. Koeman he's trying to, in my opinion, bring an element of that back as best he can. And it is working. But let's be fair, we don't really have a very good side. You can throw around a few names, the good players we do have, but some of the other players, like, there's better players out there. And what I've noticed with I don't actually think that the footballers that are there are smart enough to understand each other enough. I think that's a flaw in the players we've been bringing in. I mean, how long has it taken fucking Griezmann to play with Messi? Like, what's this, the third season? But he's getting a free pass because of the last couple of months. Overall, the relationship's been poor. I mean, you can't run a front, you can't run a front three having players that don't click like that. Especially the way Suarez and Messi used to click. That was the last partnership at Barcelona. Okay, you have Jordi Alba and Messi, but like, if Jordi Alba got divorced, he'd find Messi afterwards. You know what I mean? That's just the way he is. But we don't have that mentality that we can go onto a pitch and teams are actually afraid of us anymore. I think the way it is with us now is, in order for us to win, we just have to outplay the team that we're up against. But there's no fear in anyone when they come up against us. I mean, you just have to look at our back four. And yeah, you're right about Ter Stegen. I think Ter Stegen is getting a pain in his arse having to save as many shots as he haven't been saving this season. That's not what he signed up for. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's nervous. I think when the ball comes near the box, I think he gets a bit nervous. Because I'm not saying goalkeepers shouldn't be expected to be on guard at all times, but, there's very few goalkeepers in world football. And let's say Oblak and Neuer are up there, that when a shot goes in, if he saves it or parries it, you almost have that relaxing feeling that he's going to get to the next ball as well, or that the defence is going to clear it. We don't have that in Barcelona. When it's a throw in or a corner kick, like, my response is basically, oh, for fuck's sakes. Because I'm not confident in our defence to get rid of it. I mean, look at Villarreal tonight. They played wonderful at the back. Brilliant defensive unit. You could be confident watching them, saying, you know what, he's going to get a draw here. He knows what he's doing. He trusts in his defenders. I don't think defence is good enough.
All right. So moving on from that, we have reached the segment where we will be answering questions sent by you guys. And this week we have only received one question. Do you think getting Morata back is a good option, or should we consider finding another goal scorer, considering how hard it is for most of them to find a place at Atleti? Emmanuel, what do you think of that?
Well, it all depends on Juve. If Juve are willing to pay, then in my opinion, we sell Morata. Well, there are aspects of Morata.
You don't sell him. You go pick him up and deliver him. Get rid of that man from that club. Are you kidding me? How in God's name is Morata? He's played for all the big teams. He's useless. Let's be fair. He's useless. You can't be relying on a player like that. Not a chance. Like, I heard a rumour that Dybala was supposed to be going to Juventus or to Atleti in the swap deal. No, he's not. Juventus aren't that stupid. Oh shit, sorry, I'm at the interrupting there. Sorry about that.
No problem. Well, I think, like Gav said, technically he has said everything, but I wouldn't like having Morata as an option up front. I think you have seen Atleti has scored more goals this season as compared to last season. That tells you the difference between having someone who can put the ball in the back of the net and someone who can't. Well, like I was saying, there are certain aspects of his game which I like maybe him running in behind, which is things that Dembele have, and maybe another striker will bring in. Well, I cannot believe we spent 55 million on that guy. Well, that's another. Well, it's Gilmarin and Cerezo. I don't know what they were thinking, but hopefully, I hope him scoring goals and creating chances for Juve maybe makes Pillow to convince the board to buy him, and like Gav said, we go pick him and we deliver him at Juventus. But I'm praying that Juventus trigger their buy option and not another loan again, and then Atleti can go into the market and look for a centre forward like we have been linked with Andre Silva, which in my opinion will be a good signing, even though I will not mind us sticking with Dembele, but at the moment we don't have cash.
Okay, so the thing with Morata, I mean, if any offer comes and that gets Atleti their back, I think he's as good as gone. As I don't think he wants to return. I don't think Simeone wants him back, and even Pirlo, I think, wants them to stay. The only problem with that was that Juve don't really have the money to get him. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, looking at it, right at the moment, I think Morata is just gonna return to the team. And Frank, I don't want him to return. Like the worst case scenario is him returning and staying on the bench for Suarez, who is probably going to stay for next season, while the team looks for another goal scorer, maybe some young striker like Areto, which the team is linked with at the moment.
You think you have problems? I mean, Coutinho has to come back to us. Jesus Christ, I forgot he was even a player. You talk about wasting money. I mean, we could do a swap deal with Morata for Coutinho.
Whoa, that's quite a statement there.
Yeah, of course, because we get something out of Morata. Coutinho's been an absolute disaster. Again, it's not his fault. He didn't ask to be bought. But you're talking about 55 million being wasted. 125 million has been wasted. And it's not just been wasted on him. We also wasted it on Dembele. But we said, you know what, let's pick one of the two lads and let's just pretend one of them is doing really well. It's a joke. £250 million on two donkeys. And you think you have problems.
I mean, that board that made all those horrible decisions is gone. But I mean, from a net point of view, I just hope the board is just as bad. I mean, sorry for that. But
he's
yeah,
the biggest gangster ever. He's not an angel. He's not a savior. He's a gangster. You know, he's a rogue. He's a lovable rogue with a smile. I mean, the clown still has us participating in the European Super League. I mean, there's only us in Madrid left of it. He hasn't even pulled out of that. He's a gangster.
All right. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, Gav. It was absolute pleasure having you.
Yeah, it was grand doing that. I'll have to do this again. These podcasts are killed again. Yeah, we'll do this again, lads.
Oh, we're definitely gonna invite you again for the game next season. And thanks, Emmanuel, for.
It was nice having Gav and also discussing again with Taha.
Okay, so thanks everybody for sticking with us, and remember, Nunca Dejes De Creer. See you next time.
Yo me voy al Manzanares, al estadio Vicente Calderón, donde acuden a millares los que gustan del fútbol de emoción, porque luchan como hermanos, defendiendo sus colores, con un juego noble y sano, derrochando coraje y corazón. La 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 la. Atleti, Atleti, Atlético de Madrid. Atleti, Atleti, Atlético de Madrid. Jugando, ganando, peleas como el mejor, porque siempre la afición se estremece con pasión cuando quedas entre todos campeón y se ve frente al balón a un equipo de verdad que esta tarde el ambiente llenará. Atleti, Atleti, Atlético de Madrid. Atleti, Atleti, Atlético de Madrid. Jugando, ganando, peleas como el mejor, porque siempre la afición se estremece con pasión cuando